Jim, what'd you take away from the home opener?
Well, you know what I like. First off, when you have 5 runs against Paul Skeens, and he's I think the best pitcher in the National League, that says something. And I thought just in that first inning, we had the walk to Lindor, you had 2-strike hit for Soto, 2 strikes sacrifice fly by Bichette. Robert walked after 1-2, he's behind in the count. Then Baty had the good at bat. Like the lineup today felt like it was connected. You know, one guy does something, the other guy, you know, is aggressive early. You get a walk, you get a base hit, that type of thing. Bottom of the lineup in particular, and I actually from Robert on down, 8 for 20. 4 homers. 4 extra base hits, 2 homers, a couple of walks. You're on base 500% clip. That's pretty impressive overall. So we had a game like this. We didn't barely talk about Juan Soto. He had one good at bat with the bases loaded, drove in a run. Lindor factored a little bit, but the rest of the lineup, I thought that was the story today.
Okay, you're on with connected. I'm going to say relentless. That's the way I felt watching the Mets 1 through 9 up and down this lineup. And to your point, Paul Skeens, best pitcher in the National League. You knock him out of the game in the first inning? I mean, that's when you know you're cooking. And it was up and down the lineup, situational hitting. I know it wasn't a great day for Bo Bichette, but the fact that Bo Bichette goes and battles and gets you a sac fly, encouraging. Yes, the Mets took advantage of some abominable defense in center field. But, Sal, you said it on Twitter. I saw it. I thought it was an excellent point. When you put the ball in play, good things happen. And how about the Luis Robert at bat?
Yeah.
8, 9, 10 pitches. This is a guy who developed a reputation in Chicago for being a freewheeling, free-swinging center fielder. That's maturity. Maybe that's the Soto effect, hanging around Juan Soto and the way he grinds out at bats. If the Mets are going to grind out at bats like that over the course of 162, they're going to be really fun to watch. And, Sal, they're going to play a lot of late games because it means this lineup is going to make the opposing pitchers work.
Yeah, you know, David Stearns spent a lot of the offseason talking about being more competitive 1 through 9. And this was like almost like his fever dream, right? This game, this opener. You know, I mean, who knows what we can actually extrapolate from opening day, but this is the data we have to work with right now. And, you know, that was very impressive what they did. I mean, the number 8 hitter hits a home run. The number 9 hitter hits a home run. You know, you guys mentioned some of those other tough at-bats. Bo Bichette, you know, Lindor and Bo Bichette were the only guys who didn't have hits in the lineup, too. And they both impacted the game offensively anyway, without something. You know, Bo Bichette with the 13-pitch at-bat, he struck out. But to your point, JJ, they're going to put pitchers through the ringer if this game is any indication. So you better get to the strike zone quickly. You know, free advice for the pitchers in the National League here. Get to the strike zone quickly and pound it, because the Mets are going to make you work if you're going to try to make them chase. And Paul Skeens was trying to make them chase early.
Paul Skeens! There's nobody better. Right. And by the way, this is not an accident. So we can sit here on opening day and be like, well, it's one game. Okay, but the team was designed. To your point, David Stearns built this team to do this. Jim, this is what they were supposed to do, and you're seeing it already in game 1. Obviously, you know, the Mets aren't going to go, like, maybe they win like 150 games. They're not going to go 162-0, but this is what they're supposed to do, and there's reason to believe that this is sustainable.
Yeah, I think there is, and I think that's what's exciting about it. Especially the reason why I wanted to highlight Skeens is because, you know, the rest of the bullpen with the Pirates, we didn't see their A guys. You know, they were behind, constantly behind. So any of that damage you do against the back end or the belly of the bullpen of the Pirates, I tend to discount. But that first inning, especially after you gave up 2 runs, you come all the way back with 5. You know, they answered each time. It seemed like they were adding on. You know, they just would not give up in the at bats. And I think even Bichette's strikeout, he had 13 pitch at bat before he struck out. I mean, that's the type of thing that you see throughout this lineup, at least so far. Robert is a key for me, because if he's in that 5 or 6 hole rather than where he was previously in the 2 or 3 hole where they were relying on him, they don't need to rely on Robert in the middle of the Mets lineup. They need him down in that 6th spot to do some damage, and I think that might be a perfect fit for him.
It was 10 pitch at bat for Robert. The Mets did what you want to do. Be patient, disciplined, put the bat on the ball. And we talk about luck. That was a big thing I was saying yesterday. Like, when will the Mets get some luck? It's been 40 years. If you put the bat on the ball, maybe you can get a little bit lucky. Let's make the call to the bullpen and go live to Citi Field to welcome in Chelsea Janes. Chelsea, how about that new look Mets offense? What'd you take away from the 11-run outburst today?
Yeah, I mean, exactly as David Stearns drew it up, as you guys were saying. I mean, you can't ask for better in terms of patience, and also not just patience, but the ability to get deep in counts and then handle it, foul off pitches, take really good pitches. I mean, you think that's what you're going to get from Bichette. So we saw today how he can impact a game at the plate, even if he's not getting hits. Carlos Mendoza said it. That strikeout was huge because it led to a 4-pitch walk. You know, the pitcher was rattled for Polanco. It matters. And I think the other thing that I took away, and Carlos Mendoza mentioned this too, Luis Robert, if he can even chase just a little bit less in the middle of that order, that's a game changer, because he had that 10-pitch at bat. That's only his second 10-pitch at bat in the last 3 years. And Mendoza said they've been working on this. Maybe, like you said, it's the Soto effect, but whatever it is, you see the difference it makes to put a ball in play, and also just to take a few extra pitches. If they can get that out of him, I mean, this lineup's in really good shape.
Chelsea, you said on this show that out of all the Mets that you were most impressed by Baty this spring, what did you see from Baty today?
Yeah, I saw that I was right. No, I felt so lucky when he hit that ball, and O'Neal Cruz helped too. But no, I think in all seriousness, like he really took aggressive swings this year, and he seemed eager to make adjustments in those swings. And even today, there were a few at bats that he didn't square up the ball, and you could just see him in foul balls, just kind of looking at what he had done, kind of adjusting, thinking it through, like the wheels are turning. He also talked about how helpful it was to have the long at-bats ahead of him, that Robert at-bat, obviously, before the triple. He said it really helped, and I think, maybe you say, okay, a major league hitter can adjust in at-bat or can learn from what he's seeing, but a young major league hitter doesn't always do that, and I think you're seeing a version of Brett Baty that is a little more evolved mentally and a little more confident physically.